Hello everybody and welcome back to OIS in Source Series 2, Episode 1. How are you all getting on, guys? Hope everyone's well and staying safe during the lockdown, keeping yourself social distancing, and we're not too big of a break from Series 1 because there's a lot to get into, a lot to go in OIS in Source. The Football Manager Save brought to you by Just Football and the Nordic Football Podcast. We are back, and we are back indeed for the first episode of a new season. Season 2. Technically speaking, it's Season 6 for Goteborgsson. Yep, that's right, Season 6 for Goteborgsson of Voice in Source. But it's Season 2 of the YouTube series, and we have 5 games to save our job. You will remember, if you watched Series 1, which you can still go back, subscribe on YouTube and check it out, you'll see that we were relegated at the end of the season. A crushing defeat to Landskrona Boys, our newest, most hated rivals. And yeah, it's the rebuild. The rebuild for Season 2. We are about to enter the 2021 season. We're in March, springtime. There's been no coronavirus in the world of Football Manager, you'll be pleased to hear. And we are ready to go with everything as normal, except for the unfortunate circumstance that we are in the second division. But that's not the biggest of our problems. I mean, getting relegated is pretty bad, but you will remember if you watched the season finale on Twitch, twitch.tv/TwitchJustFootball. Get on that now. Get on that and follow. You will notice that we were given an ultimatum after the relegation against Landskrona Boys. The board came in and gave us an ultimatum which stated from Sebastian, the director, which says we have 5 games to get 9 points. So that is the situation. We're going to go into the season, we're going to review pre-season quickly and then get into the first match. This is the first day of the season to come. We are playing Trelleborg in the league, and yeah, we got 5 games to get 9 points, starting with Trelleborg. So bit of pressure for Goteborgsson. Can he keep his job? Obviously, this is his 6th season in the Swedish club OIS, who are a team in Gothenburg. If you are not aware, if you're new to the save, then subscribe. Hit that subscribe button below right now. And this is the team, OIS. Big club in Gothenburg historically, but fallen on hard times. Our task is to get them back to new heights, which we did to a certain extent before relegation. So it's time to rebuild. And the first place to rebuild is with the transfer window. So let's have a look at the players that we have lost and players that we have signed. Now, on the last episode, episode 12, you'll have seen that we recapped the players that we thought are going to leave. We did a full and detailed debrief of the season. Players that we think will be on their bike, players that we think will stay, 5 players that we think will maybe have 5 young players that will rise, that kind of thing. So check out episode 12 if you haven't seen it. But from the players that we selected, let's review where some of them are now. First place to start is the outs. You'll see we've raised 575k, and there's a lot of players who have left the club. Patrick Hopkins, our main man, our former captain, we've had to say goodbye to him, 33 now. Didn't play that much last season, and we just decided that it's probably time to call it a day for Mr. Hopkins. You might remember the AFC Eskilstuna game that we brought to you on YouTube when he was part of the defence that conceded 5 against a 3rd division side. That was his last game for the club. We decided it's time to say goodbye to the American stalwart. Do love him. He's probably got a good future as a coach if you look at his stats. So we may see him again in the future as a defensive coach, because I quite like his statistics there. Got one eye on him after his career ends, but as a player his days are over at OIS. Goodbye to him. And then we released quite a number of players. Daniel Sleeper, who you'll have seen in the AFC Eskilstuna game as well, his time's come to an end, 33. We lost Ruben Gatta to Caen. We talked about him a lot on the last series. Let us down big time in that relegation playoff with an own goal, so that was his last contribution to the club, getting us relegated. Cheers, Mr. Gatta. But a little bit of interesting news there is he's gone straight back to Hammarby on loan. So Carson didn't keep him around for long. which is disappointing, obviously. Having signed him on a free, we weren't able to cash in on him. Then we've loaned out some players, quite a lot of loans these, but the big transfers out that you need to be aware of. Number one, we've had to say goodbye to Sebastian Carson. It's sad news to lose him. Been a bit of a legend for the club in this save. He's been with us in every season that we have played. He was there throughout the years of youth teams and youth academies and mid-table finishes. He was there for the promotion season, and he was there for last season when we ended up getting relegated. And look at that consistency. He's never let us down, but we had to let him go. He was one of the 4 rebels who decided they wanted to hand in a transfer request. He put in his request, said he doesn't want to be playing in the second tier at his age, which is probably fair enough at 29. So we cashed in on him, and he's now 30, and we've sold him to Bodø/Glimt in Norway for 200k. Decent little bit of money. The only problem there, we're still paying him. Still paying him £120 a week till the end of his contract with us, because Glimt couldn't afford his wages. We were paying him, I think, 1,500. So he's taken a pay cut, and we're still funding him. But goodbye to Mr. Carson. Your paycheck's in the post. The next one to leave, Jonatan Goteborgsson, which we predicted. We mentioned that he would be on his way. We weren't that satisfied with his season last year, really. There's a lot of potential in Jonatan Goteborgsson, you know, a top player. Really, he's 26. Should be realising his potential, but he didn't really for OIS last season, I have to say. 19 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, just didn't turn it on when it counts. So we've had to say goodbye to him, and we sold him to Djurgården for 200k. Pretty happy with that. I was hoping to get maybe some more money for him. Would have liked, I think he had a 700 grand release clause. Would have liked to get around 500 for him, but it wasn't possible. He really wanted to leave, and we really needed to cash in on him because he was on 4 grand a week nearly, our highest paid player. We're still paying him as well, £400 a week for his contract. He's taken a 50% pay cut to go to Djurgården. So lucky them. But for us, yeah, he was on too much money, and we had to say goodbye and get rid. He wasn't really doing it, and he was also one of the ones to hand in a transfer request. And then the other one that you're saying goodbye to, bit of a series legend last season. Of OIS in Source in Series 1. Talked about him so many times, gave him so many chances. He was hot, he was cold, he was lukewarm, he was oatmeal porridge. Lucas Fernandez. Got rid of him now, 170k to Tromsø in Norway as well. Again, we would have liked probably a bit more for him. Probably would have liked around the 500k mark, 250k maybe. But at the end of the day, needed to clear out some of the players, some of the deadwood. He was another one, didn't really show up when it counted, although he had a decent scoring record, but pretty comfortable letting him go for the money involved. So goodbye to Mr. Fernandez. So that has allowed us to bring in about 600k overall. And yeah, as usual, you'll have seen on the save, tons of young players that we've loaned out, and some of them you'll see in the future. Some of them, maybe they might not make it. One that we do want to point out is Zakaria Diallo, because we talked about him as maybe one of the 5 to watch for next season. Well, one thing that became clear in pre-season is that I don't think he's ready, to be honest. Not quite done it in pre-season, but I think he will have a good, solid loan at Norby in the 3rd tier. So 1 division below where we are now. Got good potential. You can see his ratings there. 21, so he's still young, but I think a season of regular first team football is what he needs. And that brings us to the players that we've signed, because we have a massive squad, and it's been quite a feature of this pre-season, to be honest. We've got almost too many players, but we'll talk about it in a minute. But that's the reason we needed to get rid of Diallo. Lindberg as well, our 19-year-old centre-back. Got high hopes for him. He's gone to Varberg Boys. So yeah, a lot of loans out in the last few weeks of the season as we suddenly started to sort the squad. Let's look at the players who have joined then, the new players for you to get used to on this season of OIS in Source. Let's unveil them all. Starting with Albin Olsen, 20 years old. Signed him from Kalmar. Spotted him in a youth game, 21s, and realised he was out of contract, and we thought, let's bring him in and he can maybe bolster our youth options in the future. Our coaches like him. They think he can be a key player for our team. I think he's got a lot to learn. Still only our 9th best defender at the moment, but he's only 20. He's had an okay pre-season, not spectacular, but okay. and he'll be one for the future. Probably play in the 21s for a lot of the time, maybe play some cup games, that kind of thing, and try and build him up. Let's see if we can build him and increase his value as the years go by. I think he's got potential, and maybe can mould him into a top player. Kalmar, we took 2 players from Kalmar, and the other one is a player you'll want to know. He will be featuring in the first team. Johan Stenmark, welcome to the club, welcome to OIS. Mr. Stenmark, he is another Swedish player, and we've signed him from Östersunds. Well, he's from Kalmar, sorry. He was on loan at Östersunds last season. He played against us in one of the games, which we brought to you on YouTube, and I thought he did quite well. So we monitored him, scouted him, good ratings. Look at that, 6.9 in the top division, 21 games. Can play across the back four, he can play centre back or right back, which is promising. He's only 22, he's an under 19 international. I think for a free transfer, this is going to be a really good piece of business. I think Kalmar have lost out there on a potentially good player. And at this level, second division, I think he'll thrive. So welcome to the club, Mr. Stenmark. And one thing to note, pre-season, he's scored a decent amount of goals. So he's already got 2 goals and 1 assist from 5 games. So it looks like maybe from set pieces as well, he could maybe offer something, which we really would need, defensive output in the goal scoring stakes. So I'm excited about him, and he's going to come into the team for the first game of the season, which we're going to bring you in this episode. The other man to look out for, Simon Skrab. Now, anyone who's a fan of Swedish football will know this player because he's a pretty good player. I'm shocked that we've got him in the second division. He's come from Norrköping, who finished second in the league last year in the Allsvenskan, one of the top teams, and they spent a lot of money. They're a big spender in this game, in this league. 2.1 million they've spent, although they've let a lot of players go. But we've managed to get one of them, and that is Simon Skrab. Now, I reckon this could be a massive coup. He's still only 26, which is, he's got experience, which we need. But he will essentially replace Oppo and Guet, but I think he's actually better than Oppo and Guet. Look at those stats. Really, really good potential. All-round solid player, can play in multiple positions, and he's had a good pre-season as well. He's got a quality goal in one pre-season game, which we brought to you live on Twitch, twitch.tv/TwitchJustFootball. He scored a wonder goal off the bench, and yeah, I'm excited about him. I think he will tear up the second division. He's way too good for the Super Retten. So he could end up being one of our main men, I hope, and actually have the impact that the likes of Oppo and Guet didn't. And then there's a lot of young players we've brought in, and obviously we haven't spent a penny. It's been free transfers and loans. Let's look at our first loan then. And it's a Brazilian, maybe replacing Lucas Fernandez. He goes by the name of João Alberto from Atlético Mineiro, where he's got a really good, goal scoring record, 8 goals, 16 games. In the top league of Brazil, but they made him available for loan, and we thought, well, 21, let's snap him up. Now, I've got to be honest, as a striker, he's not had a good pre-season, to be perfectly honest with him. 2 games, 6.47 rating on average. I think he needs a bit more time to adapt, but there's definitely some potential in there. Our coaches think he can be a top player. Got some improvements to make on his strength, that kind of thing, but yeah, keep an eye out for him. I think he will gradually grow into the season. He's not ready yet, I don't think, but maybe he will be. Now, then the next signing, number 19, Christian Coffey. You might remember him because we had him on trial last season, back end of last season, when we brought in a lot of trialists during the transfer window. He didn't quite make it at the time, but we've brought him back in again and decided that he's done well enough to earn a contract. So, he used to be at Monaco, and he's a left winger, so he can maybe fill that slot there, give competition for places. He's come in, and then we've got a Nigerian, 23, number 23 as well, Samson Iyid. Now he looks red hot in pre-season, 4 goals in pre-season already in 3 games, 3 starts. Came off the bench in 1 game and scored 2, scored an absolute beauty, 2 Player of the Match awards, 7.4 average rating. Formerly of Osters, where he got 2 and 2 in the top division, and Midtjylland as well. I think this could be another coup. Can play across the front line, the defensive forward. Decent potential, still young enough to improve. I reckon he couldn't be another player to impress and bolster the squad in general. Then, Mr. Michael Douglas. Now, I'm not talking about the Basic Instinct star here. I'm not talking about the Hollywood movie star. I'm talking about Michael Douglas, the 18-year-old Brazilian. He is a midfielder. Our coaches think he's our best midfielder already by miles, which is encouraging. Only 18, remember. He's from Sao Paulo on loan. Now, he's looked good for Sao Paulo in his only few games for them. And yeah, he's another player who looks, solid. I think he'll boost the squad. Maybe not quite ready to start yet, but in pre-season he's looked okay. No, I'm not paying him any money whatsoever, so it's basically a free punt. And if he's not doing well, we can send him back. But I think Michael Douglas may be a bit of a blockbuster in the season to come. Then we've got another Brazilian, so it's 3 Brazilians. One of them, now this guy, you might recognise him because, unfortunately, he relegated us. His name is Lucimar. And for those of you who have been watching this series from the beginning and watched the Landskrona Boys game, there he is, taking the free kick that relegated us. Keyboom parried it straight into Felipe's path, but it was Lucimar who took that free kick. Lovely free kick, wasn't it? I just remember him from that game and the 2 legs. He did well. And 7.2 in that game. Obviously, I don't want to think about this game. We got relegated, but yeah, Lucimar stood out to me, and so he brought him in. I have to be honest, his Landskrona Boys history, although he's got a promotion on his CV, of course, at our expense, which is good. That bodes well. He can boost the squad. He can play left back or centre back. But in pre-season, I'll be honest with you, I've not really liked him. I just think the Landskrona Boys, he brings back painful memories, let's put it that way. And so I haven't quite warmed to him yet. That Landskrona link, they are our big rival. They're our enemies now, essentially. And one interesting piece of news was that Goteborgsson was offered the job interview at Landskrona Boys because their manager went on to bigger things. We went for the job interview and they asked, why did you get relegated, or what was the story about your relegation? I felt like they were rubbing it in, to be honest, and that just put me off even more. And unfortunately, you can't even leave job interviews midway through it on FM, so we weren't able to storm out of the interview. Otherwise, we would have. But yeah, we just got that bitter taste in our mouth with Landskrona, and that has affected Lucimar because he's not playing in the first game of the season, but he'll bolster the squad. He'll offer options. Again, we're not paying him any money, so that's a good option to have. And then finally, one loan player that we could not resist. He became available on loan, could not turn him down. Teddy Bergqvist. Now look at this player. He's got 11 goals last season in the top division, in the Allsvenskan. So this is a big player in the making. He's on loan from Malmo, the champions, and he's way too good for the second division. There's no doubt about that. He will rip up this division. He's worth 500k nearly already. He's only 22. Homegrown player as well, so he'll offer options. He's not had a good pre-season really. He will have to work his way into the squad, but that is the total ins. We'll probably do a Meet the Squad episode in the future because those of you who are familiar with the squad will know most of the players now that you've seen the transfers. For those of you that are new, let's play this game first. You'll get to know a few of them, and then maybe we'll review the players. There's some new players back from loans, for example, Mohamed Saeed Adan. He makes the bench today. Keep an eye on him because I've got a lot to say about him in the future. He's had a decent pre-season. But we won't go through the whole squad now because it will take some time, and like I say, we've got a mountain of a squad that really is going to need some cutting at some point. But for today, let's start the first game of the second series of OIS in Source. Now we've gone for some experimentation in pre-season. We've been experimenting with a couple of different formations. They're still all 5 at the back, but we've been going for a 5-3-2 with 3-man midfield, which we've tried, and we've also tried an attacking a 5-2-3 with 2 midfielders, and the forwards, instead of being out wide, they're up front, pushed all together, because we have a lot of decent forwards. Today we're going to start with the old formation, the typical OIS formation, Goteborgsson's favourite. So we're going to play this formation now, and this is the team for today. We're going to have Luis Pedro. Now you might remember him. Didn't have a good season last season. He's getting a bit old now, 29. But he is way too good for the second division. He's an Angolan international, and we've patched things up. Remember, we fell out with him on episode 3 of series 1, and we dropped into the under 21s. He had a rough season, then he got a big injury, was out for a while. He comes into the team today. We're expecting massive things from him. He needs to make up for lost time. there's a change in goal. So Adam Anderson is now our number 1 goalkeeper. Now you'll remember I talked about this on the last episode. Ricardo Kieboom has been poor, and you saw that mistake that he made, and in pre-season as well he's had a bit of a rough time. So he has lost his place. Kieboom, the Dutch goalkeeper. Adam Anderson is the man for us now. Batista Mendy, he will start. We've kept him. We managed to keep him so far. I'll tell a story about him during the match, but yeah, we've kept him for now. He starts. Lena we've kept, and we've made him captain. A rock of a player. I love this guy. He will keep his place, but he's going to play as centre-back, and Stenmark, who we just talked about, our new signing, he will come on as the right wing-back. You'll then see Kenan Buta. Now, you might remember we signed him during last summer window from Congo, DR Congo, AS Vita, big club in DR Congo. He's been competing with Christ Nkodia, one of our other youngsters, our academy youngster, down that left side, but Nkodia's injured today. So Kenan Buta will make his OIS debut, first of a start for us. He's had a decent pre-season, not looked out of place. We've played some big games, played Al Ahly. We had a Göteborg Invitational Shield, created a new pre-season tournament, which we lost on penalties to Midtjylland. We knocked out Al Ahly. Stenmark and Scrab with the goals there to get to the final, but we lost to Midtjylland. Midfield, we've got Alexander Svensson. Now, Leeds United made a bid for him in pre-season. We turned it down, and so he's now very unhappy with the club. He wants to leave because we blocked the transfer. I do feel sorry for him, because Leeds are obviously a massive club, and he's only 19. But we need him for now, and I think we're going to keep him. Obviously, his morale is low, but let's play him. Then we've got Pablo Olivo, the Argentinian that we've talked about. Solid defensive midfielder. This is a big season for him to develop. I'm expecting big things. Success in Wusu is not in the squad. We've kept him, but he wants to leave. He's got a transfer request in. Just waiting for clubs to bid for him now, because Ostersund's bid for him, but he's not accepted it. They put in a loan bid, sorry, we didn't accept it. But yeah, he wants to leave, so we're leaving him out, even though he's probably our best midfielder. And then we've gone for Patrick on the left. Big things needed from him this season. He's now our best paid player, and Hammerby is sniffing around him, but remember he had a really pretty poor season overall last year, compared to our expectations. Only 2 goals, not good enough in the league at all. 3 overall in the whole season, not great. We need him to step up now, so we're going to play him on the wing instead of as a striker. Simon Scrab that we just talked about, a new signing, and Samson Ayi, the Nigerian. So 4 new signings will start. So let's go. First game of the new season, back to where we were before in the second division. Remember, we won the league 2 years ago. The task now is to win the league. We are the title favourites. The media have predicted us to win the league. Here's the season preview. OIS are top red hot favourites to win the title. Geis, our biggest rivals, third favourites. So could be a potential, rivalry there between us and them, the Göteborg rivals. We share the same stadium. But we are the title favourites, and we need to get off to a good start because we have 5 games to save our job. So with the team selected now, let's go. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. Let's get the subscriber numbers up, and also hit like if you can, it'd be great. We are big favourites here to win, and well, ESPN think we're going to draw, but the bookies think we'll win. We cannot afford to lose this. We need 9 points from our first 5 games. This is a home match. Must win, really. So let's go. Lower attendances, of course, as you can expect. Back in the second division. Bit of a humbling experience for OIS, but we've got business to do here. This season is all about just getting promoted. I do not care how. We just need to win this year. It's all about winning. I don't want any excuses from the club. We've got 5 games to save our job, so let's go. Sunny day in Gothenburg. We're pretty much keeping the same tactics that we had before, but a lot of young players. Although Spencer's in the midfield, the 19-year-old, we've got a bit more of an experienced forward line now, to be honest. Patrick, Ide, and Scrab, so no excuses. Here's Scrab. Here's Mbuta on his debut. He's put in a cross and it's saved. Not a bad start from OIS, 5 minutes in. Here's Patrick now. It's not the best angle, is it? So I'm gonna... change the camera angle for this first half because of the shade. Here's Samson now, Stenmark. Now Olivo. And Svensson. Straight at the keeper, but it's not a bad start from OIS. Dominating midfield. Yeah, and the story, obviously, the story with Mendy that we need to talk about, that I said we'll tell you about. Well, let's just see how this free kick goes. It's cleared. Trelleborg have the ball. We cannot afford to lose this game. Patrick's intercepted it, and OIS have a break now. Here's Samson Naid out to Scrab. It's a good tackle from Ndiaye. OIS win the corner. Yeah, Mendy, we had a bid accepted for him. Here's Scrab out to Olivo, to Patrick. He's lost it. And Trelleborg have a counter here. And it's broken. Svensson can't thread it through. 20 minutes played, yeah. Batista Mendy, Hammarby bid 1.2 million for him, and it was accepted from the club. The chairman overruled it. Svensson, not a bad effort that. But I protested to the board and said that they cannot sell him. And to be honest, I expected them to tell me to, F off, to be honest. Thinking that, especially with the job already insecure, I thought they might even sack me for it. But the board listened. That's a great save from Anderson, the 20-year-old. Trelleborg were doing all right here. But yeah, they rejected the bid and took my advice and cancelled it. So that 1.2 million was turned down eventually. And we've managed to keep Mendy, which is great. Mendy is also quite happy at the moment. He's not requesting to leave. That's 0-0 then. So we've kept Mendy. But at the moment, that's irrelevant because we aren't doing that well. But let's just encourage them. Play a bit more of a short passing game. Everyone's doing okay. Ayid's been quite quiet. We could always go to 3 up front if we want to really get offensive, but I'm not too displeased with this so far. May change it to attacking, but so far 0-0. It's a foul from Olivo. The shades come in now, so let's go back to the analyst mode, which I like. Still 0-0. Bit of nerves from OIS, really. Should be dominating this game, to be honest, and like I say, we need 9 points or we will lose our job in the first 5 games. So a point really probably isn't good enough at home. So here's Luis Pedro. I'm not seeing much of the ball so far, him. Now to Olivo, and Mbuta on his debut. Down that left side, what can he produce? Out to Pedro now, back to Olivo, to Svensson, to Patrick. Big things expected of Patrick. What can he do this year? I want 10-15 goals from him minimum. Olivo with a great ball out wide now to Stenmark, the debutant, to Scrab with the header. It's cleared. Let's just see their formation. Well, it's an all-out defence really, isn't it? Look at that. Pack the defence. So maybe it's time to... well, they've really... That's a massive block, isn't it? The deep block. Not much space in there at all to play. Is it worth bringing off a defender? That's what I wonder. I think the main thing is let's go attacking. They're obviously nervous. They've come for the point. At the moment, it looks like they might get it. So let's make a change. We're gonna go to the 5-3-2 that we've practiced now. This is our new formation we've been practicing. 3 up front. We're gonna bring off Samson Ayid. I'm gonna bring on Teddy Bergqvist. Let's just change that up a little bit. Let's put the fullbacks attacking. Struggling to break down them on our first game of the season. "18 minutes to get a goal." Like I say, we need 9 points, so we could do with starting with a win here. But Trelleborg have the ball. They're on the attack. Yeah, let us know what you think of the new formation and the new players. I'm interested to know which... Oh, it's offside. They're having some chances now. Interested to know which players you like most in terms of our new signings, or who look good. Maybe who doesn't look good. I'm going to make a change. Levo's tired. So is Svensson. So let's bring off Svensson for Michael Douglas. And Simon Skrab for Mohamed Saeed Adan. "10 minutes to get a goal. What can OIS do here? Job on the line, remember. We need a good start, and it's not been a great start, this, has it? The old problem's coming back in terms of finishing. But here's Adan. And he's put it just over the bar, the youngster. Back from loan. We'll talk about him in a future episode, perhaps. But this is heading towards a draw for OIS, which isn't great. Isn't Buta. Can OIS maybe benefit with a last-minute goal of their own? Remember, the story of last season was late goals against us. Here's Mbuti. He's whipped one in, but it's saved, and it's going to be a draw. It's going to be a draw, and that's all over. It's all over here, and it's 0-0, which is not a good start, to be honest. Should be winning those kind of matches. I'm not going to go at mad at them now. Maybe I should go mad at them. We should be winning that sort of game, and we haven't got time to waste. There's 1 point. We've got 4 games to go now to get 8 points. We need 2 points a game. Tense times for Goteborgsson. 13 shots, only 3 on target. Quiet game from Mendy. Pedro with his 50th game for us. Stenmark with his first game. Svensson 25th appearance for OIS. Kenan Buta with his first ever game for OIS. Skrab, Yade, Douglas, Bergqvist. But it's a 0-0, and that is not a good sign. Not a good sign at all, really, is it? Let's just have a quick look in terms of key passes. Who was creating? No one really. Mbuta created 1. EA created 1 key pass. Saeed Adan 1 key pass. Shots wise, Skrab had a few shots. He looked quite lively. Patrick maybe, but again, not a great performance from Patrick. So it's 0-0. We're off the mark, but not in a good way. We're going to end up this episode now. The plan for the next 4 matches, we've got a friendly coming up, which we'll play now, not on this save, not on this YouTube, but we've got a friendly just to rejig the squad because we've got such a massive squad, give some minutes, and then we're going to play the next 4 games pretty much on Twitch. So put up the screen now, twitch.tv/TwitchJustFootball. Hit the follow button on that, then you'll get alerts about when we're live, because we're going to play them live and see if we can keep our job, to be honest. So the next episode in terms of YouTube will probably be after that, so potentially we may be out of a job by then. Our next 4 games: Sirius, Umeå away, Varnamo away, Mjällby away. So we've got 3 tough away games, really. So not winning that game is a bit of a rough one. I want to see where they are. When you look at the season preview, they're predicted to be 5th, so maybe one of our bigger rivals, but still not a great result at all, really. But that'll be it. We're going to wrap things up there. Tense times for Goteborgsson, who's been in charge for 5 years. He needs 8 more points still to keep his job. So we'll be on Twitch. We'll bring you all 4 games to keep the FM save going. Let's see what we can do. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be back very soon. Follow us on Twitch for the live show. Take care, and goodbye.